But happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Raise Your Game Leader Calls. Brennan, thanks so much for jumping on today. Really appreciate you. Gurneet, obviously we appreciate you, helping out and supporting, getting these calls going for all the leaders. We have 200 plus people with people still trying to log into the call. Brennan, do you mind starting real quick? I know I was just golfing. I was just talking about this a minute ago. I was just golfing with a couple guys in my office. And there's some people maybe joining us that don't know much about your background. Maybe they weren't at NatCon and they don't know your story and getting promoted to consultant so recently and being amazing. So do you mind sharing that? And then we'll kind of jump into what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, guys? What's up, Ken? It's good to see everybody. My name's Brennan. I'm a newly promoted consultant. That feels good rolling off the tongue. I'm not gonna lie. In South Florida here, so I run my office in Fort Lauderdale, which is just above of Miami. And I'm originally from Southern California, so I grew up in Orange County, California, more specifically. Was raised by two amazing parents. My dad is in corporate banking. My mom is a teacher, so I had like the sales business corporate dad and kind of the loving, nurturing teacher sort of mom. Grew up, I'd say, like right in middle class. So we didn't struggle, but we weren't crazy wealthy. And we grew up in an affluent area, so I was around people with money and things like that, and was always ambitious. I always wanted to be successful. I thought that was going to come in the form of being an athlete and being a baseball player. So I was an all-state California baseball player in high school. Got recruited by a number of Division I programs to play baseball the next level, and was able to play at Long Beach State University, which is in Southern California, which is cool. Best part about that program is it had produced the most Major League Baseball players of any college in the United States. So that felt like a good decision. And obviously, my baseball career didn't work out, or else I would probably still be playing like some of my teammates are still doing. But while I was there, I studied marketing and graduated with a business degree there, and then kind of found our industry sort of by accident. I think kind of a lot of us do that. I knew I wanted to get into sales. Wasn't really sure exactly what that was going to look like. I knew I was hardworking. I knew I was competitive. I knew I wanted to win, and I knew I wanted to make a lot of money. And our business really turned me on because it was a product that I knew, felt like I could sell, make money, seemed fun, seemed easy. And then as I started, pursuing it, I realized that there was a much bigger opportunity that was lying right underneath my feet the whole time. And so I got busy, got to work, was able to build a sales team, and then got promoted from entry level to manager in about a little less than 2 years. And I've been running my office here in Fort Lauderdale since 2016, and life has been good. Things have been gone really, really well. So that's like my 2 minute background spiel.
I love it. I love it. Didn't I think I mentioned to you my buddy Jeff Petrie, his dad, didn't he go there? Dan Petrie, big
Yeah,
baseball.
Dan Petrie went to the same high school as me.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, high school. Yeah. His numbers retired at my high school, so pretty cool.
Crazy. He's the announcer for anybody that knows baseball for the Detroit Tigers, Dan Petrie. So, but Gurneet, I'm turning the floor over to you.
Yeah, I mean, guys, look, it's funny because Brennan has run such a high-powered office for years, and he's been such an inspiration for not just me, but for so many people in the organization. And he was somebody when I came on the campaign that just looked upon. And we have him on the call today talking about high performance leadership. And I think Brennan, just the past few days, I think we've gone through some little challenges, but there was something about your team and your org and your office where like we saw even through the challenges they were rising through, and they did some phenomenal numbers. But that's been like your entire trajectory, not just now. It's been that for years. So if you can, Brennan, just kind of talk about that with the guys. What does that look like? What does high performance leadership look like? And we'll pass the floor over to you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Gurneet. And I obviously I never wish challenges upon myself, my business, my people, my organization, all of you on the call. But I also don't shy away from them and I don't run from them. I enjoy it in a weird way because I heard this phrase a while ago, and I think it's relevant here, where it's like, you don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out, right? So like everyone in the water, you just see their head up and everything looks good. But when the water goes out and the tide goes out, you realize like who's swimming naked and who's still got, a bathing suit on. Basically, just when things are good, it's really hard to know, who's in your foxhole, like who's in it to win it. It's when things are kind of going wrong or going the way that we don't want them to go that I feel like real character is revealed. So in a weird way, I kind of like it because it gives me a lot more clarity on the types of people that I'm working with. Like You know, who's the one that's rallying the troops? Who's keeping people together? Who's the one that's complaining? Who's the one that's like, screw this, I'm going home? Who's the other one that's like, I'm going to stay here until this thing's back up? It just reveals a lot, right? And that gives me a lot more clarity with how I run and operate my business. And so, um, one of the best skills, one of the best skills I feel like I've developed over the years that I feel like all of you have the ability to develop is called reframing. And I see there's obviously some owners on the call that are you're not just leading, you're leading a bunch of people. Some of you are sales leaders where you have a small team of like 3, 5 guys that you're leading. And then some of you are literally just leading yourself, right? You have no one that's following you. You're just leading yourself. But in any way, shape, or form, we're all leaders. We're either leading businesses, we're leading people, or we're leading ourselves. And one of the most powerful tools that you can develop is called reframing. And reframing is basically taking a current situation that you may or may not like and reframing it to look at it from a different angle. And so that's what I was saying earlier about, hey, you don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out. I want to see when things aren't going well, I'm like, all right, cool. This is awesome. Like this is not what I want, but what can I get from this? And so one of the things I like to ask myself constantly is, what's my advantage in this situation? And candidly, if you all want to be a part of the 1% one day, right? Because I think everybody wants to be a part of the 1%. I'm like, who wants to be a multimillionaire, right? All the hands go up, of course. Well, if you're going to be a multimillionaire in this country, that means that you are part of the 1% of income earners, which means that you should think, move, talk, act differently than how 99 out of 100 people would handle a situation. So anytime I'm faced with something that I'm like, man, I don't like this. Oh, this is like a challenge, whatever I'm thinking about, I go, but you want to be a part of the 1%. You are the 1%. And so I move differently than the rest of the herd because I'm not headed to the slaughterhouse. That's where most of the herd is headed, right? And if you really study like success, right? If you really think of three things, I like to think of we have people, we have successful people, and then we have the opposite of success would be failure, right? There's really three kind of outcomes in life. You'll either become a success, you'll become a failure, or you'll be average. Okay. Let's talk about how you become a failure. Let's start there. I think that's a good one to look at. Becoming a failure in life is a series of really bad decisions that are made consistently over a very long period of time. You end up in a very poor situation in your life. Very few people are on the side of the road, homeless, whatever, because of one bad decision they made. It's a series of decisions that they've made day in and day out, that have literally compacted over time, which has put them in a really poor situation, if you want to call that failure. Success is the exact opposite of that. Success is continuously making really good decisions over a long period of time that also compounds into becoming super successful. Most of the time, it's not just one thing. It's a series of a lot of things over a long period of time, which allow that person to become successful. I would argue there's not that many successful people in life, and there's not that many total failures in life. There are some, but they're outliers. The vast majority of the world is average, which is right in the middle. And what average people do is sometimes they make good decisions, sometimes they make bad decisions, but over the course of their entire life, some good, some bad keeps you right in the middle, which is average. And so when you're thinking of your life, you got to ask yourself, like, if I really want to be the 1%, if I really want to be successful, I need to consistently, not just when it feels good, like I need to consistently make decisions that are in the best interest of what I want long term for myself, my family, my people, my business, whatever that may be. And so I like to evaluate my team on a few things. I like to evaluate their performance. I like to evaluate their attitude, and I like to evaluate their behavior. I think all three of those things are crucial and vital skills for long-term success in business. Obviously, we want performance, we want results, but when we're not allowed to get results, when things go down, there's a couple other things that are in your control: your attitude and the behaviors that you have. And I grade my team and myself on those three things. And to be quite honest, my best guys give me all three. They give me the performance, they give me the attitude, and they give me the behaviors that I am looking for. And to me, I think there's really three buckets of things that are really important in our business. You have mentality, you have habits, and you have skills. And if you said, hey, Brennan, I need you to rank these three words, mentality, habits, and skills, of most important to least important for you, I would put them in that exact order: mentality, habits, and skills. Because if you're thinking right, we can work on fixing your habits. If your habits are right, I promise you we can teach the skill. The skill is by far the easiest thing in the world. For those of you guys that were athletes growing up, like me, I'm sure you worked and had teammates that were incredibly talented, but were mental midgets, right? In baseball, you get 3 or 4 at bats as a hitter every game. I had teammates that if they struck out, it was like they were going to strike out or have a bad game the whole rest. They were mental midgets. That's what I call those people, mental midgets. When one thing goes wrong, their whole day collapses. In our industry, this is the kind of person that doesn't make a sale within their first 2 hours, and then just like their energy changes, their work ethic changes, and then for the rest of the day, they just chalk it up. But they're also the same rep that if they make a sale in their first 2 hours, is going to go off and high roll the office. Those people are the most hilarious people to me because their entire performance is based on how they feel and if things go well early, right? The champion, the business leader, the successful athlete just focuses on respecting the process and trusts that the outcome will come. And if you focus on the process and you do the right thing consistently over a long period of time, those results are going to come and they will happen. So, obviously the last couple of days has not been great. I mean, I've been probably just as equally as frustrated as everybody else on this call, for sure. I mean, that's like the elephant in the room. I mean, I don't want my people in the stores being sitting ducks. But at the same time, I'm also not running from it either because there's an opportunity. Every time that there is adversity, there is opportunity if you reframe it and look at it that way. And I'm telling you, it's one of the highest leverage, best skill sets you can develop for yourself in life is your ability to reframe your situation, right? And in baseball, I was told all the time, so what, now what, right? You hit a game-winning hit one day, so what, now what? We got another game tomorrow. You got to bring it again. Who cares? This is a long season, right? Business is a long time. It's a long career. So what, now what, right? The last couple days, so what, now what? What are we going to do about it, right? We can only control what we can control. Right now, last I checked, things are up. Are we in the stores? Are we making up for lost time? Or are we poo-pooing and we're sad and we're at home and we're crying about what could have been, right? So what, now what? We're turning the page. We're moving on to the next thing. And I hashtag it in my group chat all the time, but mentality matters. You'll hear me say that all the time. Mentality matters, mentality matters. And, it was a great test. On Saturday, our system went down for, I think, 5 hours on Saturday, and we did 240 lines on Saturday, right? Hashtag mentality matters. The team that is the mentally toughest, the team that is the mentally strongest will win over teams that are more talented. So I'm not trying to run the more talented race. I mean, although talent is great and I want talent, don't get me wrong, I want guys that are tough. I want guys that can take a punch, get back up and say, bring it again. Business is not a straight shot to the top. It is a series of events that are going to go your way, things that are not going to go your way, things that you're going to be happy about, not happy about, and you have to just stay the course. And when you have goals, when you have clarity, when you know what you're working towards, these sort of obstacles are very small in the grand scheme of things. When you don't have goals, you don't think big, and you're literally, living in the moment to moment, things like this can feel absolutely devastating when you don't have clarity on what you're actually working towards. So, hashtag mentality matters. That's the way I kind of think about it. I got a few more things I can get into, but I want to pause for Ken or Gurneet if you guys have any
Yeah.
follow.
So Brennan, I guess my question on that, and I appreciate that perspective, and I agree 100%, right? I think sometimes when we get our consultants and people see us in this call where we are now, right?
Sure.
And from where we started to where we are now, they don't see that, all that development, all the challenges.
Right.
I think I heard you tell a story about the first day you trained someone.
Yeah, for
Do
sure.
you mind sharing that field story to kind of give a little bit of
Perspective
on, because I mean, clearly you're one of the best of the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So, okay. So my baseball career had just ended. So I'm coming from a very high performance culture. Our college team was run like a professional baseball team. Our coaches were incredibly hard on us. Like, I'm giving perspective before I tell this story because I'm gonna sound like a jerk if I don't say this part. We would have things like Navy SEAL Week where we wouldn't even pick up a baseball or do any baseball activity. And Navy SEALs, our coach was best friends with a Navy SEAL, which was the freaking worst, because we didn't do anything baseball related. We did Navy SEAL training for 2 weeks. And so that was, I learned a valuable lesson with that because you're mentally tough, and you're being physically strained. And I think that's a point going back to all of this, right? What we're going through is not physical pain, it's just mental pain. When you've pushed yourself to absolute limits physically and mentally, you'll realize that it's so much worse than whatever you're currently going through. It's not that bad, because this is just mental pain. Anyways, so I had gotten into our business. I'm a fresh little spring chicken. I've only been out of baseball for maybe a month, and I've been in our industry for probably a month. So give or take 60 days. I'm still very raw in my development. And so I hired this really sweet girl. I forget her name. And her first day, her and I go to a store. We set up. We're selling DirecTV, which is like satellite TV. And she pitches a customer. Her first, we've been in the store for 10 seconds, and she pitches a customer. She's holding her like side by side like this, like her arms are crossed. She looks down at the
That's
floor.
normal. That's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It wasn't ideal. Let's put it that way. And I'm like, okay, whatever. She's a little nervous. It's fine. And she pitches the customer, and her eyes are looking straight at the ground. And she goes like, "Hey, excuse me, sir." And just the guy doesn't even know he's being pitched. Like steamrolls her, and I kind of pull her off to the side, and I go, "What was that?" I go, in the office we covered like beast factors, like body language, eye contact, timing, tonality. You were 0 for 5 on that. Like that was terrible. I'm like, did you not like, and I'm like tapping my head. I'm like, do you not remember what we like covered in the office? Like, come on. And she's like, okay. Like, and she pitches another customer, and it's terrible. It's the same thing. And I pull her aside, and I'm like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, are you sure you want to do sales? And she's been in the store for, guys, like 2 minutes. She's been in the store. And on, like, you said you wanted sales. You told me in the interview you were hungry and you're ambitious, and like, where's that dog? I'm not seeing it. Like, come on. And so she like looks at me, and like this like little tear starts to come out of her eye. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, are you crying? I'm like, are you serious? Like, there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying in sales. Like, what are you doing? And I point to a customer, and I'm like, go pitch that guy. Like, I'm just disgusted with her. And so she goes up to this guy, and she's got a tear coming down her face, and she's like, excuse me, sir. And the guy stops, of course. He puts his hand on her shoulder and is like, are you okay? And she like breaks down, can't do it. So I go up to the guy, the customer, and I'm like, yeah, like, I'm sorry, it's her first day. She doesn't really know what she's doing. She's really nervous. And she goes, yeah, Brennan, you're right. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna run to the restroom, and when I come back, I promise you, like, I'll be like ready to go. And I'm like, okay, good. Finally, get your shit together. Basically, I'm giving her that energy. And so she goes to the restroom, and I'm chopping up with the guy, and he was like, "What's that all about?" And I just told him, I'm like, "Look, I'm like, sales isn't for everybody. It's tough. There's a lot of rejection." She's been in the store for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. She's pitched 3 people, and this is like the dialogue I'm having with the customer. And the guy was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "What are you selling?" I'm like, "Oh, DirecTV." And he's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "What do you got going on?" He goes, "I got Time Warner. I'm paying way too much." And I'm like, "Oh, let me show you." And so like we go through the whole thing. I signed the guy up, and in those days we're calling into the call center to process the order, and they asked for the rep code. Who does the sale go under? And I don't see her, and so I'm like, "All right, well, I think I told myself big dogs got to eat." And I put it under my code, put it up on GroupMe, first to the store, first to score, and it's been 12 years, and I never saw her again. She never came back from the bathroom. She disappeared, and I've never seen her again. So that's how I started in this industry.
So, to say the least, we all start somewhere
For
when it comes
sure.
to training and mentoring. Obviously, looking back on that experience, it was like, oh, I maybe could have handled things a little bit differently. But you're
For sure.
you're so good at the business today. I just wanted to give everyone perspective. Like we all start somewhere. We all are learning. We all, are trying
Yeah,
to.
and look, I mean, here's the thing too, right? Like everyone's dealt different cards in life. For me, it's much easier to have a strong mentality right out the gate because I had come from playing very high level Division 1 sports where I was broken mentally constantly by my coaches, by the Navy SEAL guys that they brought in. So I came into our business with a rock solid mentality. And some people don't have that. And so you have to learn through that through the field, and you have to go through the trials and tribulations where you build that mental resilience for sure. But if I could challenge anybody, there's nothing like going through mental pain and physical pain at the same time. And no one here is going through the physical pain of our industry. It's just the mental hurdle. And if you can get your mindset right and you can just get your brain around the right topics and thinking the right way, the chips will fall your direction pretty consistently. We think the whole world is collapsing in on us, and we make a small problem a much bigger problem. And there's really no need to magnify that because in the grand scheme of your career, this will just be a very tiny blip on the radar that'll be laughed about and forgotten one day. But for
Agreed.
now, I get it. It makes sense.
Agreed. Gurneet, anything on your mind? I know he said he had some more content he wanted to share.
Yeah, I want Brennan to kind of share a little bit more of his content. Also, Brennan, if you can kind of touch on, because things have just like, in my opinion, just become way easier. I mean, guys are just flying out making two, three, $4,000 a week, and they feel like that production can just get them to ownership,
Yeah.
which I don't necessarily think is true. So if you can kind of touch on what are some of the things that you're looking at now, where things have becoming so easy. What do you see in those individuals that you're like, all right, this guy can go run an office. So what are some of those guys are doing? Say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. So I think my favorite part about the amount of money that everyone can make in the field these days is one of the things that used to happen to me a lot early in my career was, Brennan, I love you, I love the business, and I love the business model. I simply cannot make enough money being a rep to pursue this opportunity because I am bleeding. Like I cannot pay my bills. Like I'm just short money every week. And that was the reality of being an owner a handful of years ago, was that we couldn't attract and retain certain types of people at different phases of their life. And now I don't have that conversation anymore, because the money is so fantastic. But at the same token, I will also say this is also not a sales game. This is a replication, coaching, training, and building people game. And if your only focus is, can I do $4,000, $5,000 a week? I mean, look, that's great. No one's going to be mad at you for making that kind of money. But at the same time, I also think that what's really important is that you get a really high result that's very systematic and that's very sustainable, that you can also turn around and teach somebody how to do. So I really had two field versions of myself when I was going to the field all the time. I had the really talented, awesome sales guy version of me, and I had the I'm training and I'm around very new and impressionable people today version of me. Because look, let's be honest, the highly systematic version is so boring. Hi, how are you? My name is Brennan. I'm here with AT&T. We've partnered up with Target, Walmart, Costco to upgrade your services and lower down your bill, right? Like I I had that pitch, which was my training pitch and working with a struggling leader pitch. And then I also had my pitch where I was working with like one of my top guys and we were both really good at the field. And we would both just like, hey, bro, you got a gift card that we can offer this customer today? And he'd be like, I don't know, we're down to one, and it was like this like hilarious back and forth banter that we would have to make customers feel like they were on a game show, which was all talent based, right? And you could never teach that systematically. So I think I had two real versions. And I think my challenge to a lot of you guys is you need to be very aware, when you're working with new and impressionable people, how you're going about getting your sales result. I think that's very, very important. So here's a couple of things that you can hear from a trainee to know that you're on the right pace or on the right page. If you hear, oh wow, Brennan, that's it, like that was all it was, like that was so easy. If you hear, wow, today flew by, like I had so much fun today, that is how you know you are doing the field correctly. If you hear this, and this is the most concerning thing you could possibly hear, if you hear, oh, wow, Brennan, you're amazing at this, like you're incredible at this. If you hear that, what they're telling themselves is that you are awesome. They are acknowledging that. But number two, they're thinking, well, I could never do that. What I just witnessed was so incredibly awesome. There is zero chance that I could do that. Like they were attending like a magic show or like a theater performance where they just want to clap for you, but they're like, oh, there's no way I could do that, right? So ego will really like that. So if you hear like, oh, you're amazing, you're awesome at this, your ego is going to be like, yes, yes, you are amazing. But you got to be aware that basically what they're saying is that I don't think I can do this. This looks like magic. This looks like something that I don't think I can do. So you want to hear this looks fun, this looks easy. Oh my gosh, that was it. This is so simple. You hear that? That's how you know you're on the right page, with training specifically. So at a bigger scale, I think some of the things that are really important to me that I'm looking for is I want people that are people that enjoy being around people. I look for people that are developers of themselves. So guys that, pick up a book, listen to podcasts, right? There's intentional growth and then there's unintentional growth. Okay. Unintentional growth is the growth that you experience by just simply being in our industry or by just showing up to your office every day. You hear something in the office that you're like, oh, that was good. I really like that. That's unintentional growth. You're showing up, you're surrounded by good information and good people, and you're growing, but you're growing unintentionally. It's just happening because of the environment that you're a part of. And then intentional growth is the work that you're doing on your own to grow and develop yourself. And so the tricky part here is that if all of you show up to the same office every day, all of you are unintentionally growing at the same rate. So even though you may feel like you're getting better and leveling up, which you probably are, everybody else that you're working with is also unintentionally growing at that same rate as well. And you're not really netting up in terms of getting better because everybody else around you is getting better at the same rate because you're all unintentionally growing. So if you can unintentional growth, combine it with your own intentional growth, or things that you're doing to grow and develop yourself, man, that will really put you ahead in the game. And so if you like kind of my thought process, if you're listening to this call and you're like, damn, I like the way that Brennan's brain works, I like his mentality. I'll give you a couple of people that I listen to constantly to build my mentality. So there's some people I think are awesome. I recommend Tim Grover. Tim Grover was the personal coach and trainer for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. He's got a bunch of YouTube content and he's got a couple great books that are awesome. David Goggins, who I think you guys probably have all seen and heard his content on social media. Eric Thomas is awesome with mentality. And Dave Anderson are some of my favorites when it comes to building mentality because that's really what it's about. It is a mental game. And can you keep your brain in the game longer than other people can keep their brain in the game? And if you can, you're going to be a lot better off. So that's kind of how I think about it. I don't know if you have a follow up for me, Gurneet, on that, but those are some of the things that I'm really looking for in the guys that I want to work with and build with. Not just the top sales guy, but the guy that can get a result and teach others how to get a result. Because candidly, if Ken can do $2,000 a week and teach 10 people how to do that, and Gurneet can do 5,000 a week but can't teach a damn person, Ken is way more valuable to me because he can replicate and build doing 2,000 a week versus the one guy who can do $5,000 in a week. And
And
that's no shot at Ken or Gurneet. I love them both.
just gonna say that is all true. That is all
Yeah.
true.
I love them
Oh,
both.
man.
I love them both, but I want the guys that I can build with for sure.
100%. And Brennan, to your point, right? So you've been in the industry, you've got a chance to give back to the business, not just your family and your immediate family, but also other people and running offices. We're coming up on 30 minutes. We have close to 300 people on the call. I think oh, Len, you just, because I sent you that text a minute ago. Thanks, Len. I appreciate it. I sent Len the text. I'm like, are you the guy at the beach? I was texting him. But you've had a chance to give back to the business. Obviously, incredible feeling to make a difference in people's lives.
For sure.
Um, Anything that because of this opportunity, your people have accomplished. Brennan, we all know we've had some great times. I've seen you do amazing things. A lot of people, to Gurneet's point, you've inspired so many. But
Yeah.
what because of this, you've helped others. What have you seen in your people that is really like, wow, man, I just love that I played a part in that.
Yeah, I mean, even with current and former, I mean, I think I have, since I've been running an office, I think I have 4 marriages under my belt where people like met each other in my office and got married. With kids, like there's multiple children that I think I'm responsible for in some way, shape, or form, which is crazy, which is awesome. I have a good buddy of mine who basically took all the tools and things that he learned here and he decided to move and open up his own landscaping business and is doing really well there. And then in our business, I have guys cars for cash, have been, fathers, parents, which is great. I have an owner in my organization that was able to basically retire his dad and move their family out of a really rough part of town into a really nice part of town. And just, it's the meaningful impacts of lives that I think is the best and most true definition of success is not only success for yourself, but then helping others succeed as well. And it is true though. You have to become free to help other people get free. So, one of the hardest things I think, especially for a lot of the young people that we work with on this call, is a lot of times you won't have the support of friends, you won't have the support of family during this process. I know my parents thought I was crazy. I was a Division 1 athlete that I got a marketing major, and 2 months later, I'm selling satellite TV and I'm a cable salesman in a
In
Walmart
Walmart.
in Walmart. And they were like, okay, did
Dream job.
did we screw up as parents? Like, did we mess this up? And I think at first they were just happy I had a job, I was making commission, I was making money, and they were cool with that. But then when I started talking like, guys, I think I'm gonna become a multimillionaire like doing this, my parents were like, oh no, it's one of those like, and I remember my mom like sending me like job applications, like, of other jobs that were like higher base with company car and all this other stuff. And I think the best analogy I can give for a lot of you guys is kind of like I talk about this sometimes. It's like an acorn. Acorn, anyone know what an acorn is destined to become when it grows up and gets big? Anyone know? An acorn. Acorn. Acorns become oak trees. Oak trees. Yeah. And if you take an acorn and you put it in the kitchen drawer at your house, true or false, in 5 or 10 years, there will be a giant oak tree growing through your house.
True.
No. Yeah, the acorn will literally just sit in the drawer and be an acorn. It won't do anything. It won't grow. It'll just sit in that drawer. But if you took the acorn and you put it in soil and you gave it sun and you gave it water, even after being neglected for 5 years sitting in that kitchen drawer, it will begin to grow because it's finally in the right environment to grow. And for me, when I came into our industry, I didn't have results. I didn't have a team. I was making, I mean, way less money than most of you guys. I mean, I was making like $600 or $700 a week, and I thought I was a big baller because I could buy drinks on Friday night. I thought I was like, hell yeah. But I didn't have results. And a lot of times people ask, like, why didn't you quit? Why didn't you give up? Why didn't you go do something else? Especially when you didn't have the support of friends or family. And it's because underneath the surface of the soil, I was growing. My roots were expanding and I could feel myself actually leveling up and getting better. But from the outside perspective, looking at the ground, all you could see was just soil. But if they had dug beneath the surface a little bit, I was really growing and I was really laying my foundation. And I think for a lot of you, you don't have the results yet. It's easy when you have results to fall back on success, right? Like obviously now I've done very well for myself. I can go look at my beautiful oak tree, look what I've built and created, and it's producing more acorns for everybody else to enjoy and love because of all the work that I've done. Yeah, okay, that's easy now. But when I didn't have those results and you couldn't see anything and it looked like nothing was happening, I stuck in it because I was growing. I could feel myself growing. I knew my roots were growing and I was expanding and I was laying the foundation for what I was about to do and what I was about to build. And then all of a sudden, one day, boop, you have a little bit of a result. You hit a senior corporate trainer or senior leader or assistant manager. You haven't made life-changing money yet, but now you have some results that people can look at and be like, oh, damn, like he's moving. And then all of a sudden you grow, you grow, you grow, you grow, and then you become this beautiful thing. But what kept me in it was that I knew I was growing and I knew my roots were being put down. And I think that's the problem with this generation or our generation is people want the results now. They want the fruits, but they don't want the roots. And unfortunately in life, and if you want the fruit, you have to put your roots down. And so, the last couple days to me are root days. They're character building days that are laying the foundation for the fruit that you will reap one day. But you will never get those fruits if you're constantly digging yourself up and replanting yourself. And that's what people do. They're a jack of all trades, they're a master of none. They quit and move on to the next thing, quit and move on to the next thing. I have buddies that are on, I mean, I'm 34 now. I have buddies that are on their 10th or 12th job who have accomplished jack shit in their life that are the most talented, awesome guys that I know, but they're not patient, they're not disciplined, and they go from thing to thing to thing to thing, thinking that the grass is greener, only to find themselves completely unfulfilled, not growing, and frustrated with where they're at. The Walmart cable satellite salesman is kicking their ass in life because I didn't dig up my roots and I kept my roots down. I kept planted and I kept pushing. I kept giving myself the water, kept giving myself the soil, kept giving myself the nutrients so that I could continue to grow and lay my foundation to where one day now I can bear the fruit of those decisions. So the last couple days are not fruit days. The last couple days have been root days. And if you really focus on your roots and your foundation, the fruits of your labor will be rewarded massively for sure.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And it's funny, I'm 34 years old too.
Right.
Right.
Agreed.
So
Yes.
I think Gurneet's the old one on the call. But we'll leave you guys with this. I know it's 12:37, but this is a quote that one of my owners, Ben Gowan, shared with me the other day, and I thought it was just incredible. But the most valuable math you can learn is how to calculate the future cost of your current decisions.
Mm.
I'm going to say it again. The most valuable math you can learn is how to calculate the future cost of your current decisions. I know for me, my career path a little bit different, but similar to Brennan's. I didn't have all I had a period of time where I had a ton of success early in my career, and then I got my ass kicked for about 5 years, like really, really bad. And then I had to turn it around again and rebuild it all over again. And it is what it is. But I remember thinking to myself in those worst moments, like 5, 10 years from now, long story short, my wife bottom lined me to get my head straight and to get back in the game and do my thing. And I realized at that moment that 5, 10 years down the road, my kids, my family were being impacted by what I was not doing right now. And so just remember, no matter what decisions you make, life is a very interesting way of giving back and giving you what you deserve and what you earn. But you got to be patient, to Brennan's point. It's going to be times that things are going to happen. They're going to build your character, and you'll bear the fruit down the road. So, Gurneet, any final thoughts? Thank you so much, Brennan. You're awesome. Nothing but love for you, bro.
Yeah, guys, I mean, look, that was phenomenal. And to Brendan's point of view, guys, like, and it's so funny, like just understand the mindset, and no wonder we see how well he's doing and the organization's doing, and just the top leaders, just have a really strong perspective on life. And what you think is bad is an opportunity for someone else, and that's what we're here to see. So obviously, guys, look, great content. Brennan, thank you so much again. That was so phenomenal. And guys, I really hope you guys took something from this. And guys, encourage the people in your office to be on these calls. Make sure they're taking notes. Make sure they're on every week. This is unbelievable content that will get you level ahead. When you join these calls, is what Brendan is saying. Are you doing intentional learning? Are you doing the intentional thinking? Are you getting on and taking notes? Are you sharing the notes are you sharing the videos? Because this is being recorded. So continue to do that. We'll be back next week, guys, with another phenomenal speaker next week. And look, we're excited, and fourth quarter is here, and let's finish off the week strong, guys. Have a good day, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.